All right, Coach, another huge week for you guys at the Carolina Challenge. It really felt like all meet long that here in your home facility, packed out crowd, sandstorm blasting, that you guys really built momentum from one event to the next to the next. Your entire team, the camaraderie was very evident, and it really seemed like no matter what event was going on, that everybody built off of each other. What is it about this home track that really seems to stir something in your team?
You know, it's just a great facility, and they've bought in to making this a place where it can bring that energy that track and field nationwide really would like to have. The conference meet is an energy meet, and great performance come. And any conference meet in the country, people have great performances. Well, we want to provide that kind of energy at Carolina every time someone steps in, and particularly for our athletes. That's why we do the if it's to be, it's up to me towel, or why we have cocky in and have music blasting. Now, it's irritable to some people who are not accustomed. They like to sit, humdrum, and just watch me. But that's not for performance, for athletes. Athletes are energetic. It's a new world. They like beat. They like noise. They like the sound. And to the older coaches, some of them, it bothers them. Why we got that noise going on? But the athletes don't see it as noise. So I've always noticed that around the country, where you have energy and how you can create energy is the way you create performance.
We had so many great performances on Saturday that you and I didn't even get to talk about all of them after the meet. A couple of notable performances, maybe three that we didn't really talk about. Maya Dindy, near a season best, finishing second in a field full of pro athletes.
Well, let me stop right there. Maya Dindy, it is not how fast you run, it's who you beat. And that was probably her greatest run. I was thrilled. I couldn't get to her. I plan to spend time with her a little bit before team meeting tomorrow, because sometimes, you know, when you come from the legacy of where you got a brother that's an Olympic medalist, and you got a national champion, and you got auntie that ran for the U.S. Olympic team, those kind of pressures mount when a kid comes to college. Their father was a great college runner, mother great college runner, so she's been under tremendous pressure. But here's a senior that in her home, at her home school, she decided to line up and beat some people who had better times than her. And I'm just thrilled that when our athletes compete at that level, that they compete. Nobody's expecting her to finish second in that race except for her and her coach. Coach Kareem has motivated her and set her mindset into, hey, it's personal performance. It is not about everyone else. It is about, do you love the sport? It's do you want to do this, and how life goes with it. You got to love what you do and want to do what you love.
She was fantastic, and it was awesome to see how she performed. Even though the field maybe wasn't as strong, Jana Andriana solo was fantastic. 777, a season best for him in the long jump. He's still in NCAA contention, getting a little better each week, and it seems like he's really ready to do big things in the indoor season.
Yes, I mean, and he was working on things. He had others that were really big fouls. He and Coach Deal worked quite well together, getting the last 4 steps in such that he can turn over into it. He's a powerful guy down a runway, and you just don't know how that big guy is going to raise up, and he's running so fast. So he's getting away to adjust to a penultimate step such that he could get into it quick instead of staying long. And once he gets it down, we're going to see even bigger. And it's going to take bigger, because right now he's 16th in the country, and top 16 is what it takes. We like to say we're right now 5 inches away in a couple of events. The pole vault, 5 inches away in the long jump. Hey, a few inches away, the guys are saying we're 5 away from a national challenge in the 4x4. So 5 is our big number.
You're close to contending in the shot put as well, where Eric Favors was fantastic on Saturday. I know it wasn't a new PB for him, but another incredibly consistent series for him. I think 5 throws over 18 meters, 1 win over 19. Eric has found that consistency, and now it feels like he's knocking on the door of some really big throws.
Well, that's what Coach Sarge likes to think. The first one we say, you know, he made an effort. He got over 19 meters, but it was the one throw over 19 meters. So to become a 19-meter thrower, it's multiple times over 19, and he just moved into that bracket of expectations of 19. You know, I like to say you got to be in not catastrophic, but cat. Anytime you wake a cat up, he can move. And then so, but if he's catastrophic, he's overweight, he's gonna get caught. When he's in that cat shape, Anytime you wake him up, he can throw 61 feet. And so now he's getting to the point, anytime you wake him up, he can throw 63. We know 64 is going to take to get to the meet. It's going to take 64 to the final. And when he gets to the point where he's constantly at 63, and this is 2 meets, this week at Clemson, if he goes 63, we look for a 64 at conference meet when the hype is up. And maybe even here at home next week when people come to give him a little energy to create that rhythm for 64 feet so that he can be an All-American. So those are things that we work on week by week as we talking coaches staff meeting, what it is that we need to bring another one on. He's coming into his own. He's in a cat shape.
And, of course, we talked about him quite a bit this past week, but I got to ask you again about Quincy. It is official. #1 time on the NCAA leaderboard right now in the 400 meters, 45.84, I believe it was. And I know you think he's got some room to go lower, but now he's the favorite and he's going to have a target on his back. So how do you work through that over these next few weeks to make sure that he's still peaking and going even lower now that he's established himself as one of the big dogs in the 400?
One of the big things is Quincy is just getting consistent and working out. Yesterday he ran 3 600s and with 8 minutes in between, and his last 200 on each one of those were 24 seconds. And with that pain to be able to do it, in fact his last one was 23. Well, to do that kind of work and to finish a 600 at that rate, it means that he's willing to take that pain and not just be that. And that's 2 days after, 1 day after having run a 44-second quarter mile. So he's bought into the idea of the progress to trying to be not good, not the NCAA champion, but a Quincy champion. We are here to try to establish it's not what you do, it's who you be, and it is if you're the best that you can be. And if it's to be, it's up to me, and it's up to him. And he's buying into that kind of idea.
Last one for you real quick, Coach. You mentioned it. You're going up to Clemson this week for the Tiger Paw Invitational. I know there's going to be a great field there, and I know you've got some things on the checklist that you want to accomplish, that you want to see from your team Friday and Saturday. What do you hope to get out of this meetup at Clemson this week?
I just hope we don't get shocked because, New York was kind of a shock to some of them, and then they woke up at home. I know everybody's Olympics is run at home. Well, going to Clemson, you can be in a daunting situation with all the orange and the purple, and then when you add on Texas A&M and you add on Houston and you add on Penn State and you add on Miami and you put Florida State, teams that are ranked in the top 5 in the country, and you have a mile relay to #1 and #2 men in the country and #3 and 4 women that are in front of us in the 4x4, and it's just going to say, hey, you find out who you are before you go to the conference meet. It's a good prelude leading into the conference meet. So we get to find something about, and it gives us a week to work on what we find. And so it's an exciting meet to go into. We've come off one at home, but can you play away from home? And because the conference meet's away from home, the national championships away from home. So there are things that we got to learn about ourselves. We learned something about being in New York, and we found out something about if they come into the nest here, then our kids are going to be tough in here. We got to be tough on the road, and that's what we're going to talk about this week. Can you play on the other guy's court?
Should be a lot of fun opportunity to test yourself against the best. Good luck this weekend, Coach.
Hey, thank you. Go Gamecocks, and watch that Gamecock basketball. They're rocking.
Awesome. Thanks.